William?
Yeah, I'm actually attempting to run my business from home and paying for a 3 meg connection, and I only can get a max of 1 meg connection. So your point saying that 65% take up is kind of meaningless really, because 1 meg connection is laughable really. That so many different countries have way better connections, and the fact that you're kind of boasting that 40 million has been invested in DSB for fibre, that's also kind of laughable. That we're paying out the banks for 54 billion and 40 million is a boast then. So why is there not more investment in fibre?
Anybody else got views on this particular question? Yes.
Leo Gibson. I run a business from home in Castleknock, and our biggest problem is the frequency with which the broadband is actually dropped. I think it's a problem that anyone who's working from home or even from an industrial estate finds is the biggest issue they have right now. It's not the availability of fibre optic, it's simply the quality of the service that we're getting. When we got on to BT said the same thing every time: it's the exchange in Blanchardstown. It simply cannot cope.
Yeah, listen, I didn't want to boast there, because I just wanted to say that we're not doing nothing. But that is the fundamental problem. The fundamental problem, go back to, if it is that exchange of Blanchardstown, in terms of the lack of investment over years because of a short-term ownership model within Aircom, particularly, has been our real difficulty. And listen, we have to be honest about that. And that was, that's gone back, it's a 10-year policy. It was 1998 when we sold Aircom. We actually then, it just went through a series of short-term flips. People used to say flips and flops. That's what happened to our main incumbent telco. And that has been a real difficulty. But I'm hopeful that with new owners coming in which have a more long-term view, it may be possible for us to change that. It's not easy. We do need to act fast, but that is the fundamental cause of our problems, the lack of investment in the network.
Paul McKenna has another topic.
Good morning. My business, EnergySaving.ie, it's an energy cost-saving solution that essentially pays for itself within 1 to 2 years. Effectively, it's cost neutral, but the current climate has created a situation where potential clients will not spend the money required to reap the benefits that we're offering. And that's for 2 reasons. Number one, the banks won't release the money required even though the monthly savings will actually be greater than the repayments over 3 years. And number two, our clients have a very real fear that they won't exist this time next year.
What sort of costs would be involved initially in taking it up?
It would depend. Every building is a blank canvas, but what we have found is, regardless of the size of the building, you're looking at a 1 to 2 year payback period. If you were to get an investment from a bank for 5 years, you'd be well covered with the savings you get per month. At the minute, we're struggling to get companies and the banks to release the monies. I don't know how to convince them at this stage. I don't know if you guys have any sage advice.
Firstly, I think you should go to your bank and get them a copy of the International Energy Agency report from November 2008 called Global Energy Trends, which actually nails it and says that this is the first time the International Energy Agency did an audit on the world endowment of oil. And even taking a Goldilocks situation where we get a growth in natural gas liquids, and particularly we get oil out of Canadian oil sands, which is a highly dubious contention, we're going to face a severe oil crunch until 2015. That will get their attention. Refer them to the Energy Watch Group, which is an international group of scientists in Germany who've done studies on the same thing, and that will get their attention. That's the bigger picture. But hang in there, because you're in an extremely exciting space. My own view is that oil prices are going to hit the roof over the next few years, and I mean way over the last peak, over $200 a barrel. And it's only as oil prices go up and energy prices and gas prices rise that businesses will actually cotton on to the enormous savings that can be made through energy efficiency technologies. I also believe that the world is on the cusp of an enormous revolution. The last time we had seen anything like it, we had the printing press coinciding with the development of steam technology, and we had then the Industrial Revolution. This time we have a global communications network called the Internet, and it's coming at a time when we're facing a huge challenge when it comes to energy. So if you're thinking of developing any type of business, energy and energy efficiency is the place to go. So I would say to hang in there as much as you can, try and get the bank on your side, and I'm absolutely certain in 2 or 3 years' time, if we're able to meet again, you will be sitting on a very, very handsome business.
But Paul, can I ask you this Ben? Who goes to the bank in this case? Do you try and get a package with the bank together to go to sell your service or your infrastructure, or does the client have to go to the bank individually?
Depending on the size of the project itself, if it's small, and it would be hard to say, if I would trust the customer that I would allow him to pay it over maybe 6 months at best. If it's a large project, there's no way I can fund that, and that client is going to need to go to the bank where they have the reputation with them and look for the money. Now, on that note, over in the UK, there's a scheme called the Carbon Trust. It's a private enterprise where they release money. You apply to the Carbon Trust, you say, look, I'm set to save X amount per year or per month. Can I get a loan on that basis to fund this project? We don't really have anything like that. I don't know if there's anything in line to be implemented.
Yeah, but your estimates, if I'm correct, are based on your model with your client in the bank is based on looking at the problem from today's energy pricing only. If you run a sensitivity analysis on what happens to the model when oil prices go to $150 a barrel, $200 a barrel, and go and show the bank the bigger picture with the International Energy Agency report.
That's a great struggle at the minute. The easiest way to get to a reduced price is to go to your energy supplier and renegotiate a rate with them. However, you're still going to be consuming the same amount of energy, you're just paying a different price. And convincing people that when prices are so low for what they're paying for their energy now it's quite a difficult task.
Right, Ben.
Paul, you might be like what I'm going to say to you here, but if you came to me and if you said to me, I have a proposition which can guarantee you a 1 to 2 year payback, if I didn't do business with you, it would mean that you were a bad salesman. And if you have an idea that guarantees somebody a 1 to 2 year payback, and if you're not succeeding, you're the problem.
On that, Ben, I decided to go into West Point yesterday and just have a quick walk around, and I found approximately €8,700 savings per year that would pay for itself in 2 years. So.
Hold on, Paul, hold on. If you went there, who did you talk to?
I just took a quick tour of the gym.
But why did you're now proving to me you're a bad salesman. Because if you'd have walked into my organisation yesterday and went to the duty manager and said, listen, would you ever make sure you get this message to Ben Dunn? I can save him 8,600. I'd have met you before this morning.
You're meeting now. Well, he was doing a recce. He knew he was meeting you this morning.
Well, you need to go to the three of them now and save me more. Would you have my business?
That's not
and if you need any help on finance, I'll get it for you in this situation.
I have a full printout report.
That's fair enough, Ben.
One deal done here anyway.
Okay. but Minister, isn't it? I mean, this is where we should be going, isn't it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. One of the changes, I've been discussing actually the banking system, back to what we were saying earlier on about how we get them to start investing in enterprises that are genuinely productive, is to look at this issue about future savings you make from energy efficient investments now. And if we can designate, let's say for example, it could be in a mortgage allocation, you're allowed to lend up to certain scales in mortgage allocation. You're allowed to lend, let's say, 2.5 times wages or 2.5 times income. But if you can, so just to take that as an example, if that you make an investment now in an energy efficient investment in a property, and even if it's a 7-year payback, that you treat those savings you make over that 7 years as cash flow and allow that then to be leveraged in terms of the mortgage. That to me is a good investment. That's a real cash saving. It's just as good as income and therefore should be lent against. And it's those sort of innovative banking changes that I think we need to make now, and we'll stitch into the Solana legislation that's going through, that actually is going to allow untap some of this potential. That's the private sector. I think the public sector similarly we need to do the exact same. And we started last year, we set up this €100 million fund for energy retrofitting. The Home Energy Savings Scheme was one aspect of that, about €50 million. We've had about €30 million worth of applications on it to date. It's only set up in May effectively, so it is working. but it's only the tip of the iceberg. This is the area where we can make real savings and create real employment.